As you take this club back, you mentioned the club and the hands get sucked inside. Now, I don't necessarily mind the takeaway being a little bit inside. I think people focus way too much on needing to have this perfect neutral looking takeaway, whereas a lot of the best golfers in the world actually pull the club a little inside, going back. So as long as it's not creating problems elsewhere, or as long as we can overcome these problems, it's not a huge concern. Now, I will say, obviously, we rotate the forearms a little bit open here in your golf swing. The club works inside. But the bigger issue to me, I agree with you, is the hands working really inside. Like your left arm gets really across the body. Now, it's not so problematic here, but as you continue to take the club back, that gets amplified, right? Your hands get really inside, which if you were slicing the ball, I would say this is actually a good thing, because the more inside the hands get, the more inside out you can swing on the ball. But obviously, as somebody who draws the ball way too much, this can be very problematic. So by the time you get to the top of your backswing here, you open up your hips decently well, although in previous videos, I do not see this much hip rotation from you. But the bigger concern to me, without question, is the left arm being so low and across the chest and so far behind the body. The only way to overcome being this flat is to rotate open like a madman with the body. Meaning really staying in your posture and really getting open through impact. If you were to rotate open like crazy coming down, for example, you can actually overcome the fact that you are very flat. This is where we get into the idea of what we call matchups. Matchups just basically means the combination of variables working together. When a golfer has the left arm so low and across the body and the hands are so behind them, they need to get these hands in front of them really fast coming down. The only way to do that is through a lot of rotation. If we look at where your hands are, and then we look at the start of your downswing, your hands drop even further back from the inside here. There is a big drop to the hands, which tells me that obviously your rotation is not happening very efficiently. And so as you come down, your hands get stuck way low and across the body. Right? This left arm is way too in this way. Your hands are stuck too far in. And then obviously your club is just stuck a mile behind you. So your rotation is too slow with the body. Your tilts, or what we would call your posture, is not great. Your right shoulder is too down and back. Essentially you're taking your golf swing, and the simplest way to think about it is you have a lot of draw elements in your swing, which basically means your arms being very flat will influence more of a draw, right? And then from there, your slow rotation of your body will influence more of a draw. Your hands dropping and the club being shallow will influence more of a draw. The problem is you have so many draw elements into your golf swing that now you are just very simply stuck way too far from the inside. And obviously from here, the attack angle gets too shallow. So I'm sure on bad swings, you're even hitting up on your irons instead of hitting down on them, which obviously is not ideal. Your path has to be extremely far to the right. This looks like what I would assume is a sky track here, although correct me if I'm wrong. So it might not give you club data, but the path has to be very far from inside out. And so on bad swings, it's going to be a big push to the right or a big snap hook. And obviously just a lot of heel strikes, a lot of shanks, a lot of poor divots, a lot of fat balls and thin balls and so on. So the poor posture basically means your left shoulder comes up too fast, your right shoulder goes down too fast, and your body doesn't rotate open fast enough. You can see the chest is kind of hanging back here and it's very flippy. So for me, you essentially have way too many things in your swing that influence a draw pattern. And when you combine them together, it becomes this mega shallow hook. So we need to get rid of that. So how do we go about getting rid of it? Well, for starters, I'm not so worried about the hinging of the wrists, but I agree with you 100%. We need to get this left arm much more upright at the top of the backswing. And we're going to talk about a lot of exaggeration drills and a lot of different ways to do that, but the lead arm needs to be a lot taller at the top. From there, once we get the lead arm taller at the top of the backswing, while still making sure we're loading well into the hip, then we are going to work on a lot of rotation drills. Those rotation drills are going to be meant for two things. Number one, to obviously get you more open with the body, but they're also going to be meant to not have your lead side come up so much and the trail side drop so much. I'll clarify this on camera, so don't worry if this confuses you, but essentially the tilting that you do with your body really drops the club underneath the plane and gets you stuck way too much. And then obviously from there, we're going to get you more open. And in doing that, the hand path, instead of dropping down and behind the body, will start to work a little bit more outward. So it's not so much about the hinging of the wrists, and it's not even so much about the takeaway being inside that's concerning to me. It's really about the path of the hands and making sure these hands get taller in your backswing. That is going to be our priority number one in this lesson, okay?